All right, KISS Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the KissFAQ message board. Today I am joined by 69th Blizzard Ken.
Hello there.
St. Louis Kiss Lonnie.
What's up?
And Daniel.
Hi there.
Please, of course, on the board. No news this week. I think Ace was on Eddie Trunk, so that's the only thing that's kind of everyone's waiting for a copy to show up on YouTube so they can listen to it. I did not listen to it, so I have no idea what he said. So I'm also waiting for YouTube. New purchases. I actually bought something this week, and I finally got. See if it shows up. Oh God! Now I gotta turn off my background. God.
The back, yeah, it's
Choose
invisible.
background effect.
Whatever it is, it's invisible.
I know it's so. Okay.
Nah.
There we go. Finally got a copy of the Hotter Than Hell ad out of the Rolling Stone magazine from December 1974. I'm thrilled about that.
Wow.
I've now got a spare one that's not in as good condition, so anyone's looking for one at a decent price, let me know, as it's got some crinkles in it. Anyone else bought anything or had anything arrive recently, since it's a couple weeks since our last episode?
Yeah. And one of the things is I did get the vinyl for Just to Kill.
One of the few people who were able to. I missed that as well.
I was lucky. I guess I'm lucky because
You are.
they didn't,
Didn't show up on Sound of Vinyl
Sound
or
of
anywhere.
Vinyl. Yep, didn't show up. So here's it's a nice color shade actually of it. So
No, it looks good.
yeah, it's translucent. They still use these stupid paper sleeves though. They should really use the better ones. But
Mark Antony will tell them that they're not using archival quality polyline.
Exactly. And the other thing, I guess I was showing you guys, the only other thing that showed up, it was the mask, unmasked mask. So
nice. That looks good.
I'm ready. I'm ready for exposure.
Ready for a post.
Exposure, hopefully.
You're ready for the COVID-19 world we live in.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right. So today's topic is MetaliKISS. When KISS goes metal. Since we did When KISS Goes Pop, we wanted to flip that one on its side. The other side of the coin, of course, is When KISS Goes Super Heavy. And, we've got several songs that didn't make the cut, and, we got to allow Lonnie, to vent, because most of them seem to be his picks.
Yeah, most of them are my picks. You sent me the list of rejects this morning.
So,
it's like my whole list.
Lonnie, tell us about some of your rejects that didn't make the list, and you can tell by the points how badly those picks really were.
Well, I have several on the rejected list, and they include Heart of Chrome, Thou Shalt Not, and Tough Love. All did not make the cut. When I think of KISS going metal, I think of the heavier KISS records immediately, and the first ones that come to mind are songs off Revenge, Creatures, and Carnival of Souls to a certain extent has some pretty heavy material on it as well. And you can make the argument with some of the earlier stuff is pretty heavy as well, but I don't know, for KISS goes metal, they were really in 92 they were really chasing that kind of harder type of scene, and that's a lot of what Revenge was. Daniel's disagreeing with me and I can't hear you, dude.
Oh, no, now we can hear you, but you're really
Now
low.
I can hear you. Just barely.
They only managed to do that with one song, and that's Unholy. I'm sure you have that on your list as well.
It is on my list, for sure, absolutely.
Ain't nowhere near the metal sound that they created, for example, during the Creatures record.
Well, sure, I put Creature songs on my list, too.
Yeah.
But I think I think the problem here isn't me. I think the problem here is the three of you. So
Well, Lonnie, I did, Thou Shalt Not was that close to being on the list because I crossed it out. I had
Lonnie,
too many.
I had
This is
Heart
one
of
of-
Chrome.
Well, good. Not ranked high enough, obviously, but
All right. So before this turns into Lonnie whinges about Julian skewing the results in order to get rid of revenge because Julian hates Lonnie and revenge. What else didn't make the list? Larger Than Life did not make the cut. Fits
Yeah,
Like
that
a
was mine.
Glove did not make it. Keep Me Coming. Surprising.
Yeah, Keep Me Coming. That was on my list.
Young and
I thought,
Wasted.
yeah, another one on my Lonnie, it wasn't just your list; it was my list.
Yeah.
too.
So I don't.
Yeah.
I apparently
The
don't
other
like
two
Ken
guys.
either.
Ken and I both told you this list was fixed this morning.
Yeah.
Well, Julian, you must love me because I got 9 out of 10 picks on the list.
Well, yeah, oh my
Oh.
God.
Yeah, Julian likes the European. Imagine that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Viking blood. There we go. Yeah, well, one of mine didn't make it. Well, a couple of mine didn't make it. Strange Ways. I'm very disappointed in you all for missing out on that. But it all comes back to how we perceive metal. Not only a matter of, why we hate revenge. It is that I think
Why
we
we hate Lonnie.
judge metal differently. And some people will say, well, what is metal? Some people say Black Sabbath is metal. Other people will say, no, Metallica is metal. Black Sabbath is hard rock. Because everything has kind of changed. I mean, it's labels and badges and all that crap that no one is ever going to decide on. It's going to be like, a political debate in some ways that you can't get people to agree on a definition of what is metal. So, Ken, how do you approach a question of, what is MetalKISS to you?
Yeah, well, okay. MetalKISS is more. It's more where they turned up the guitars. They're more forefront. The drums are more forefront. It's just more in your face, louder, more riffs, more guitar kind of licks going on throughout the song. Maybe in some cases, I guess a little bit more up tempo, but that's not always the case. But yeah, it's more where the guitars are more up and the vocals are more almost screaming, vocals, versus if you go back, like I said, the 70s are more rock and roll turned up, making it harder rock. So away from that, I think it's more, like I said, the guitars and how they are used and so on.
I'm almost afraid to ask a Scandinavian. For you, what is metal?
Well, actually, I have to agree with Ken. The only thing I think you left out that's important to me is probably the lyrics, actually. I mean, it's very hard to make a metal song out of Then She Kissed Me or something. You need to have a title and lyrics that go along with the theme of the song, and it all has to correlate the metal sound with the kind of tough and somewhat harder lyrics, and but it also have to be a great song because I was listening through some of the records before this, and a record like Hot in the Shade. I mean, the song Boomerang. It's a kind of a heavy metal song, but it's not good enough. It doesn't matter how much drumming Eric Carr does on that song or the licks from Bruce. It just doesn't make the cut. So all my 10 picks are great songs. So I would, and this is the only top 10 list which feature Gene more than Paul for me. I know Ken likes Gene's songs better, but to me it's always the Paul songs. But this time around, Gene is overrepresented in the top 10. Yeah.
Perhaps rightfully so, considering, when we did the pop one, I think Paul was overrepresented on that side of things, and it kind of fits in with their characters and also their general style of writing. So for me, it's about attitude, metal. And yeah, when I think of metal, I immediately think of Sabbath as kind of the purveyors of doom. So it's got to be kind of dark and brooding, but driving. And I don't find myself kind of bopping my head happily like I will to pop music. When you start going, yeah, it's all happy. Instead, you start, head, movement. Head moves in a different direction. So it's bass and drums musically for me that drive. The guitars are, a completely separate element. It's the bass and the drum that really delivers, again, the backbeat. So, the kind of the force delivering that attitude. Lonnie, the words of wisdom about why.
Well, for me, metal is a lot about guitars, guitar driven, obviously, and we always talk about Kiss, a lot of Kiss songs being catchy. Metal songs to me aren't necessarily catchy. Like Julian was saying, bob in your head, catchy type new stuff. I guess it's more of an attitude than anything else. Like for lack of better terms, like a tough and cool attitude. Of just punch you in the face. The power chord just smacks you in the face, and you can just feel the thud of the drums in your chest when you're at a concert. To me that's metal, and Daniel makes a good points too at the lyrics. The lyrics need to be, again, tough and cool, and not about oh, I met this girl, and oh, I don't know if she likes me or not type stuff. It needs to be darker lyrics, and and we'll get into that, I'm sure, with a lot of my songs that didn't make the rejected list. That most of these songs are going to be darker and have darker themes than the pop songs that we talked about that are just kind of light and happy. So to me, it's a theme. Metal is really.
So pop music makes you kind of go like that. So
right.
That's no, and yes. So there
Correct.
You go. All right, so let's get into our list. Everyone gave me their top 10 list, and I just did the math and narrowed that. We ended up with 19 songs, 9 of which, of course, did not make the list. And our top 10 starts, well, interestingly enough, in 10th place, on 10 points, I've Had Enough, Into the Fire. Lead off track from Animalize. Ken, thoughts on that as a pick?
Yeah, that was on my list, and it was lower on my list, but yeah, it made it. That's the best track on that album. It's the heaviest track, most metal-like. It's, again, like Lonnie said, something that's in your face. It's right there, and then the lyrics there. Just like Daniel said, the lyrics are all there. I've had enough, and all the other lyrics that are in it is just tough. It's tough stuff. So it's just a great song, great, and that's why it's a lead-off song on that album. And that's the one song, the only song on that album I thought. Well, there was one other one I thought about, but that was the real one that I thought I could pull from Animalize.
Yeah, agreed. It's the only one I could pull off Animalize, and it's as an opening track, a musical eruption. That Kiss hadn't really done that often on some of their albums. Kind of had a lighter opening track. I mean, there were always kind of declaration openings, but not these full force, hit you in the head with a frying pan, piss off the wife type track.
Right.
So I ranked it the same as you, Ken. Daniel, you had this the highest of the three of us.
I had it at number 6, and I think first of all, it's the start of it always makes me think of like a machine gun. The drums, Eric Carr's drumming in the beginning is awesome, and then Kiss does a pretty good impression of the guitar heroes from the 80s. Mark St. John starting off with that crazy lick in the beginning of the song. Very metal to me. And you can hear the screaming guitars throughout the song. Mark St. John is all over this track, and I actually like what he's doing. I know many people have a different opinion, and the main riff is very metal that goes through the song. It's real fun playing as well, and Paul's singing is awesome. some parts he really belts out, like no one is stopping me now, and this is the hour now. The ending on the choruses are really impressive. And I think he sings well, but he lacks the mean vocals that he had on a previous record when he started off with a song. And that's a song that will end up higher on my list. I think he can do a meaner vocal than this one, but it's just a great song. And no question, Kiss was influenced by, the new wave of British heavy metal at this point. It's really obvious, but it's a great track.
Yeah, and absolute great vocal. Thanks for drawing attention to that. Lonnie, this one didn't make your list because you're so busy padding it with revenge tracks. So
correct.
Get off his back now.
Correct. It didn't make my list because there are more metal songs in this, but it is a good track. It's very guitar driven, as we talked about earlier. And Mark St. John's guitar, like Daniel said, Mark St. John's stamp is all over the song. I mean, just listen to it. You can, as opposed to anything else Kiss has ever put out there. I mean, it's very different with Mark's playing, but it is a good song. It's one of the. It'd be interesting to see how many Paul songs wind up on this list, but it's a good Paul metal song, and it's really just a punchy in the throat way to start off the album. And it is like Ken said, maybe my favorite song on the album. It's it's dark and it's fast and it's guitar driven, and it just gets you excited for the album. So I didn't put it on my list, but it's a good pick to be on here.
Yeah, and you raised a good point about how many of these songs are going to be Paul picks in this in the top 10. Let's stay with you, Lonnie, for 9th place on 11 points. Hate. That did make your list.
I'm surprised Hate is only 9. I mean, I know it's on Carnival of Souls, which people kind of just gloss over or don't pay any attention to, but Carnival of Souls is actually, if you take it for what it is, it's really good. And the way Hate starts off the record, to me, is very similar to the way Unholy starts off Revenge. And when they were recording Carnival of Souls, we had been told that, Carnival of Souls is going to pick up where Revenge left off, and we had heard that Hate is gonna be the lead track, and I got my bootleg version of Carnival of Souls, like we all did in around 96, early 97, before it came out late that year. And I loved it immediately. It got me fired up for the rest of the record. I threw my bootleg in and I listened to Hate, and I was like, oh, this is picking up where Revenge left off. I was excited. And Hate it's just dark and dirty, and Hate is what I am. I mean, that's metal. We were talking about lyrics earlier. That's total metal. Hate is what I am. And it's just, and to Julian's point too, like Gene's bass in there and the drums in there, and it's like tuned down, and it's just really, really dark. And to me, that's a lot of what metal is just dark. I mean, we talked about Black Sabbath, we talked about Metallica. I mean, it's very dark type stuff. So I think Hate definitely deserves to be on this list. I thought it would be up a little higher, but we'll see what the rest of you guys have to say.
Yeah, oddly enough, I ranked it the same as you. And I knew that I was going to have something from Carnival of Souls on this, but it was, again, it's our top 10s. And I just don't find a lot of the songs on Carnival of Souls good enough to compete with some of the heavier songs off maybe lighter produced albums. So Hate is a great opening track. It's grown on me over the years. And I actually had another pick from Carnival of Souls that this bumped in order to end up on my list, and as everything shifted around. But, it's actually, Unholy Part 2 for me to this day. It feels like that. On my playlist, I edit out Paul's intro section, the backwards garbage. But, it's full of attitude. And also Carnival of Souls, I have a problem differentiating between metal and grunge, which are really kind of two related but overlapping kind of genres by this point. Ken, it didn't make your list.
No, I kind of
Explain
figured that
yourself.
one out. Yeah. even though, yeah, I hate that pick. Now the thing is, I think I threw that out just by the fact that that album was produced as a grunge album, and I don't consider grunge metal. Though that is the most metal song on that album, and had it been produced like Revenge, that would have went on the list. No doubt, it would have been on my list because it is a great song, and I could have put it on there. I pretty much just discarded Carnival of Souls. I said, nope, no Carnival of Souls, no Crazy Nights, no Unmasked, no Dynasty. I just immediately bum. No, those are nothing. Didn't even look at those albums. The Elder and so on. But yeah, it's a great song. I agree. Maybe if it was produced a little different, like I said, I would have put it on the list.
Yeah, fair enough. Daniel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. We had a loose criteria on how to rank the songs, but I feel you. I agree with all the points you're making. I also wrote sister song to Unholy, but not as good because some of the elements had been done already. The intro was obviously kind of an attempt to have the cool intro from Unholy, but adding the vocals that you mentioned, Julian, ruins it for me. It just sounds silly. Boys to Idaho, or whatever he's saying. It just sounds silly. I think they should have left out the vocals. That would be kind of cool. The noise. Other elements that you can hear a bit of God of Thunder in that song as well. And it is a metal song, but there are some things that aren't up to par. I never liked Eric. I like Eric Singer as a drummer, but not on this song. It's too complicated. I would have preferred more of a Eric Carr beat, more, as James Hetfield tells Lars Ulrich when he wants to be nice, a more solid beat. Not trying to be so fancy. I think that would have made the song better and heavier because he uses the toms way too much during the chorus, the verses actually. And but if you look at the lyrics, it's 10 out of 10. Lead a lamb to slaughter. All you ever did was follow orders. I mean, the lyrics are very dark compared with a few episodes back. We listened to The Elder, and it was all Odyssey. I don't even remember all the silly words they used, but this time around they use words that work for the song, for the theme. But the guitar solo, once again, they try a bit too much to me. Bruce Kulick's solos on the previous record were great. This time around, he's using a lot of, I think, some sort of pedals, effects, and actually brings a whole lot of noises to the solos. And I never seen him as a player that needs that kind of stuff. I liked it better when he has like a clean tone. So I'm not really fond of his solos on this one. I would have preferred like Vinnie Vincent going loose on this one or something, or clean Kulick solo. So as a Kiss metal song, it falls a bit short, but there are highlights, and it's good enough to claim the 10th position on my list.
Yeah, what's the difference between Carnival of Souls and Revenge? Bob Ezrin.
Yeah.
Don't
100%. 100%.
I can say that. Mark's not here. Bob Ezrin. Bob Ezrin. Bob Ezrin.
100%.
Mark, I'm sorry. He's having a seizure right now. Okay, here we go. Moving into 8th place on 12 points, Killer. And I'm actually shocked. This is my number 2 pick.
Really?
My second most favorite Kiss metal song because of the attitude and the bass line. and the driving just attitude that's delivered. And then you add on to it a fantastic vocal by Gene and Vinny's contributions to it. So that has always been one of my favorites. And it only ranks this high because Daniel also put this song on his list much lower down. But thank you, Daniel, for helping me have that song end up on the list. So I'll talk to Lonnie next.
It was... I pulled a Ken where I did some editing on this list. I gave this list a lot of thought, and it was on my original list, but then I felt guilty that I didn't have enough revenge stuff represented on my list, so it fell off, unfortunately. But it is a great song, and I love Gene's. We talk about dark vocals and that she's a killer, stone cold killer. I mean that's pretty metal right there. And it's just the way the song just kind of goes along with the dark rhythm and the drums. I mean, creatures and drums and metal. I mean, that's pretty sums it up right there. So was going to be on my list. Just felt if I had 11, if this thing turned up to 11, then I would have included Killer.
Ken, if our list went up to 11, would something else have bumped it off your list?
Yeah. Well, Killer, it crossed my mind. I didn't write it down, but it crossed my mind. I thought, the other guys aren't going to pick this song. I probably shouldn't pick it. They think I'm going to go, because I'm a Gene guy, I picked another Gene song. But... I thought it crossed my mind. I thought it should have been a little bit heavier, in my opinion. The reason I didn't put it on is I thought it should have been a little bit heavier than it was, a little bit more thicker kind of tone to it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it didn't make my list. But yeah, it crossed my mind, definitely.
Well, thank you, Daniel.
Daniel didn't.
No, to me it's the perfect title, as Lonnie mentioned, and the lyrics are perfect. Blood, stone cold, animal with a twisted brain. Watch out for your jugular vein. I mean, that's some pretty heavy duty stuff. And I also like the, I don't know, for lots of words, the chugga guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It's very metal, and there are some details in the song that I enjoy. Vin is playing, and I like the ending. If you remember, many songs that they spend time on, like when they did Creatures and Revenge, and those albums where they really put in the effort. The endings are a lot better than on the other records. And the ending of Killer, if you listen carefully, you can hear Gene sounding like Dracula preparing to feast on a victim. Killer! I love that stuff from Gene. Cool beginnings and cool endings. So Killer was number 7 on my list. It's a real cool metal song.
All right. Nice explanation. All right, here we go. 7th place. And this song has a similar setup because it was only voted by 2 of you. And one voted it very high, and the other one voted it enough for it to get on the list, obviously pretty well, and that is God of Thunder. Lonnie, this made your list.
It did.
Oh.
I'm surprised God of Thunder is... I mean, that's a very metal song.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's earlier in their catalog. It's one of maybe their first real metal song. Well, I can't say that because I did pick something higher than this. And we haven't gotten to it yet. So it's not their first real metal song, but it's definitely metal, and it's a highlight of the show because it is very different than a lot of what they play. Even when you go to a show, in the Empty Short Wreck City, you have Deuce and this and that, and then all of a sudden it's like the whole, especially in the End of the Road tour, like the whole everything changed from being happy and Paul and this and that, and all of a sudden just lightning and thunder, and there's Gene, Drew, and blood, and it's like, well, what just happened here? Things are really different all of a sudden. The show just took like a left turn out of nowhere, and all of a sudden Kiss goes metal in the middle of the show, and it's Gene pumping his fist in the air with that bass riff, and God of Thunder and Rock and Roll and Olympus and all that good shit. I mean, that's a really, really metal song. It's lower on my list. I didn't rank it as high as I did other stuff, but it definitely made my list as far as, and especially when I was a kid. I've mentioned that Destroyer was like one of the first albums, if not the first Kiss album I had. My brother had it, and that song just really resonated with us as kids. It's God of Thunder and Rock and Roll. I mean, that is metal to me.
Yeah, for me, it didn't get anywhere near my list, but live in concert, it's Evil Incarnate.
Correct.
But I can't separate it away from its now known Dance Beginnings of Paul Stanley's Happy Crappy.
Oh, no, you don't listen to that.
God of
You just don't listen to that. No.
So that pollutes mine, but it's a little bit like She. She was nearly a pick for me on my list, but the production of it on Dress to Kill just ruins it as a metal song. And then when I get past that and listen to it live, I hear the flutes coming out of Wicked Lester. So, for those sorts of reasons, I couldn't put it on my list. But yes, it is a very metal moment in concert for the band. Ken?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Julian. Not because of the Paul Stanley version, but because when I think of God of Thunder, I tend to think of Destroyer, and just the sound of it on there does not, again, it's a production thing for me. Does not. I mean, the lyrics, it's kind of gloomy, and the lyrics are good, but it's just the heaviness of it. No matter how high I turn up the volume on that, it's not going to get metal for me on that album. Maybe a Live 2 version is more my speed for that, and it's approaching metal there, I guess. But it just didn't really cross my mind to use that song.
So could Pat Boone get you in a metal mood with God of Thunder?
Yeah, Pat Boone. Oh, yeah, God. He did that album. Yeah.
All right, Daniel.
No, I guess it.
Sorry, Ken. Daniel,
Well,
this was your. Was it your least favorite top 10, or was that your favorite?
This was my number one. I hope you ranked it as number one when you counted.
Why do you think it made it this high up in the list? Courtesy of Daniel, God of Thunder.
You haven't done anything to the lists, I hope.
I never fiddle the numbers. I can't
believe you guys on this one. I'm really excited to see which song will end up as number one, because I thought this was a clear-cut winner. I mean, as a kid, this was the only song that scared the shit out of me. I mean,
it's disappointing all of us.
It feels like something out of a horror movie. And this is the voices in this song works real well for me. I mean, the kids, it's like someone is after them. They're afraid of someone, and when we listen to Hate, it really didn't work. I think this was a way of trying to recapture that perfect beginning of God of Thunder. But the beginning, the intro sets the tone. Some of the noises from this one some of the tones from God of Thunder can be heard in other heavy songs like War Machine. It's really haunting, and to me, this is the first time that they managed to capture Gene's persona perfectly. And of course, Gene didn't write this one. He didn't write the other two songs in my top three either, because at times it seems like other persons should write the songs for Gene. Gene is a Beatles guy, and he really doesn't have that heavy metal gene in him. I'm lost. I don't know what to say. I mean, this was a clear-cut win for me. The speaking part is real evil. I mean, I am the Lord of the wasteland. I mean, if that's not metal, what is? The breathing sounds towards the end. I mean, it's terrifying. And the lyrics are great. The only thing, and the solo, Ace's solo, perfect. And I'll credit this one to Bob Ezrin as well. I mean, he knew that this was something for Gene. And it's like his go-to song when he's trying to look scary on stage. Of course, it's the #1 metal song. The only thing I don't like is, he's done this before. He did this on the Creatures album as well. Is when he say, "I'm the God of Thunder." That's real cool. "I'm the God of rock and roll." I mean, rock and roll isn't like a mean thing you can mention in a song. He did the same thing with Rock and Roll Hell, I think, on the Creatures album. I mean, when you listen to the first verse, it's like someone coming home from the war. I mean, having a lot of post-traumatic stress, and then he sings about "take me out of this rock and roll hell." That ruins that song, and that's the only bad thing in God of Thunder. The rest is perfect. It should be #1.
Well, it was for you, so that's good.
And
that's
for a
good.
lot of others.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm gonna post all 4 of our top 10 lists separately on the FAQ thread for people to see what we picked, because that'll just be good as a discussion point for the topic. But let's move on to number 6, or in 6th place on 15 points. Imagine that, it's another Gene vocal, "Not for the Innocent." And Ken, you ranked this the highest, so why don't you start us off?
Yeah, well, "Not for the Innocent." I've always loved, and it's another one of those building type songs. Again, off of, I think it's another great metal type album, Lick It Up. It comes up second, right after Exciter on that album, and it's just that little guitar tone going at the beginning, light, and kind of, again, you hear it, and then everything starts kicking in, and it builds, dum, 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 going, and Gene's vocals on that, I think it's one of his best vocals, or metal type vocals. Pure dirty kind of vocal, evil kind of vocal. It's not a super speedy or up tempo type song, but it gets its message across, and in a way, it's similar to a God of Thunder, the way it kind of, that slower plodding kind of song. So I think it's just, I love it. Whenever I hear it, I just, crank that sucker up, because it's a great song.
Interesting, good thoughts. I hate going to Lonnie in the middle of his set. It didn't quite make your list, but what are your thoughts on it?
It didn't make my list. I like "Not for the Innocent." I think, like most of us, I like the demo of "Not for the Innocent" better than the album version of "Not for the Innocent." But it's a good metal song. But there's stuff on Revenge that's more metal than this. I mean, come on. So that's why it didn't make my list. But it's good. It's heavy. It's dark. "Not for the Innocent." Vinny's playing on it's great, but didn't quite make it. But I can see. But I knew when I left it off my list, like, other guys are gonna pick this, but I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised it is as high as it is. But it's good. It's good. I'm no complaints.
It's as high as it is thanks to Ken. But
thanks, Ken.
Daniel, it scraped onto your list, second from bottom. But
yeah, I think Ken hit the nail on the head. Of all Kiss songs, this is the song where Gene is the angriest. I mean, the meanest. Sings the most sinister vocals I've ever heard him sing. He sounds like he's possessed. He sounds like he really wants to get your daughters, and I'm not sure what it's going to do with them.
Oh, he
But
does.
nothing good, I think. And the lyrics, once again, perfect. I'm mean, I'm dirty. We're here for the slaughter. Kick you when you're down. I mean, perfect lyrics. And I always enjoyed Gene's screams. You know, he doesn't do them a whole lot live. He had that famous one in "Fits Like a Glove," but most of the time he didn't do it. But I like those screams, and he has one in this song. You're gonna turn to stone. He like belts out with. I mean, it's so good vocals, and actually, if you listen to once again a very well done song, if you listen to the end, you can actually hear him scream in falsetto, and it still sounds real angry and mean during the fade out. So it's a perfect delivery from Gene when it comes to the vocals, and the song is slow, but that's very metal to me. A lot of metal songs are real slow, and just a good pick all around. I think it belongs on this list.
Yeah, and it was in 7th place on my selection, and I think I was, influenced by some of the things Ken and Daniel have both said on previous episodes of the show about Gene's vocal on this song in particular, but also to completely flip my opinion of why I didn't go with God of Thunder because of the demo. I think that reinforced why I selected this, because that demo for this is just brutally heavy. Absolutely wonderful, but I think it's a better song with just Gene doing it. I do like stylistically Paul trying to do a vocal in the vein of this song, and I like how that arrangement's a little damn fly. Excuse me.
What is he doing?
I'm having a senior moment. Please excuse me.
Happening over there.
But it is a fabulous, great song, and again, it's the bass line. Focus in on that bass when you're listening to headphones. It really meets kind of my prerequisites for what I define metal by. Okay, let's move on to 5th place on 18 points. Parasite. Hallelujah. One of my masked Kiss heavy metal anthems as far as I'm concerned. And it is heavy, heavy, heavy. I love it. It was my top 3 pick for this list. I'm just trying to see who should go next. Lonnie, let's go to you. You had it on your list.
I had it on my list. Parasite, as we were talking about God of Thunder earlier, it was almost caught. I had to catch myself. I said, well, it's Kiss's first real metal song. I'm like, well, no, because Parasite, in my opinion, was their first real metal song. It's a fun song. It's a fun song to play. It is the first song I learned how to play on guitar is Parasite, just because it's a good song for a beginner just to pick up. You can do that riff pretty quickly, as when you first pick up a guitar and you feel like, wow, I'm playing a Kiss song. But it's that riff that Ace composed for this song is very simple, very metal. Gene's lyrics on it, Gene's vocals on it are great. Parasite Lady, Parasite Eyes. It's just, I love it when they play that song live. It's, I never really thought I would get to hear them play that live. And like over the last, I don't know, since the last decade, since they did that Alive 35 tour in 2009, it's kind of stuck around for the most part, where they've done a tour with it, maybe do a tour without it, and then it kind of, it has a way of circling back. I think they really enjoy playing it, and it is a darker song to kind of, keep things, not so poppy during the set list and have some darker Gene songs mixed in there. But it's a very metal song, and I'm glad it's represented in our top 10 because it was definitely in my list.
Nice point on the guitar. Very fun to play. And that breakdown actually makes you think you can actually play guitar as well.
Correct.
After that. So,
because I can't, but I can play Parasite.
Me either, but I can as well. So, Daniel, your thoughts on Parasite? It made your list.
Well, I have to agree with all that Lonnie said, it's the first metal song, and Ace was always the riff master in Kiss, and this is one of his best. He didn't mention the solo. I think the solo brings this song to another level. A few years ago, I remember we discussed Ace's solos and ranked them. I think this is one of my favorites of all time, and I don't just think it's fun to play on the guitar. It's also fun to play on the drums. Real fun song to play on the drums, and I really like how Peter Criss played this one. Actually, they removed the video clip of Peter Criss playing it in San Francisco '75 on YouTube, unfortunately. But that's one of the magic moments of Peter Criss when he was young, hungry, and bashing those skins. And the breakdown when he does the drumming part is just awesome. He beats the cymbals, the crash cymbal, to shit. I mean, that version from '75 San Francisco is awesome, and it's metal, way before the new wave of British heavy metal and all that kind of stuff. So, good pick. It was number 5 on my list.
Yeah, Ken, didn't quite make your list. What are your thoughts on Parasite?
No, I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't put it on my list because it is such a great song. And I agree with you guys, Lonnie and Daniel. I could see it, and now I think I probably should have put it on the list. But it is a great heavy song, and it probably is the first Kiss metal song, metal type song. So yeah, great breakdowns in there, and the solo is fantastic. After that, Ace's solo is just great. The whole thing is a great song, so I don't know why I didn't put it on. It just got bumped off by these other songs that I like a little bit better.
Fair enough. You don't need to justify yourself. Here we go. 4th place on 21 points. Our second Paul Stanley vocal of this battle, and it is "Exciter," the lead-off track from "Lick It Up," and this is my number 1 pick. To this day, it just is. It just has everything I like about heavier Kiss. It also has Paul delivering a fantastic vocal with, again, the driving backbeat. Who else had this on their list? So it was a little bit skewed, was it? No, it wasn't. Ken, you also had this on your list. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on my list. It's number 3 on my list. I think it's one of their heaviest, one of their greatest opening tracks on their albums, and that was just a total in-your-face kind of song. And Paul Stanley's vocals are just, awesome on it. And that's probably what kind of puts this song over the top. One of the reasons, at least. And the guitar solo, the Vinny. Oh, it wasn't Vinny actually on this solo, was it? It was the other. Who was it again?
Derringer.
Rick. Rick Derringer. So yeah, I mean that solo was just perfect for the song. Sorry, Vinny, but the song is just, I don't know. It's just a great song that I have no problem listening to and cranking that one up. I mean, I guess "Lick It Up" is kind of I don't know, in a way, of one of my favorite albums, but that song is just, rocking, and the great way to start off the album.
Yeah, nice. Daniel, didn't make your list, I don't think. No,
it didn't. I know Ken is in love with "Lick It Up." I think Asylum.
Like Lonnie is
but I think those two intro songs, "Exciter" and "King of the Mountain," are real great rockers. But I never felt like it was metal songs. To me, it was more hard rock songs. Both of those, two of my favorite songs from the '80s era. But I can understand that you put it on the list, and if you have "Lick It Up" as one of your favorite albums, you'll bump it up a few notches too high. But it's a good song. It's a good song, and every song from "Lick It Up" to "Lick It Up," "Asylum," Creatures of the Night, Animalize. The first song on those records are real killers, all of them. But I do feel Paul had a better vocal on a different opening track, and I'm glad to see it will end up higher on the list. At least I think it will. But it's a good pick. Didn't make the only song on the list that didn't make my list.
Nice.
Lonnie.
It's on my list. I really enjoy Exciter. It's heavier and it's fast and it's guitar driven, and Paul's vocals on it are incredible. It's really Paul Stanley, really really in his prime. I mean, Paul's vocals are so good at this stage of the game, and it's fast, it's guitar driven, it's a lot of what metal is. Metal can be slow and plodging, and metal can be fast, and that's what this song is very fast, and it's a great way to kick off Revenge, and I had to put it on my list, and bump off a song from Revenge and throw Exciter on there. It was tough to do, but I did.
Yep, that's what happens on lists. Songs get bumped off, like King of the Mountain or Asylum songs. All my Asylum picks, there was only one actually, got bumped off my list as I thought about other songs. All right, let's move on. And second place, the song Daniel's probably been waiting for, Creatures of the Night, on 29 points, and the actually I've just gone the wrong order. I've
second place.
Yeah, in third place, War Machine. 23
there
points. So let's get back on track here.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, you
you
and
figure
Lonnie,
it out. You can do the math. You can try to figure it out at this point.
Yeah, so you and Lonnie both ranked this one in second place. So Daniel, let's start with you on it.
Yeah. I think Creatures of the Night, the whole album could almost be on this list. There are quite a few songs that are real metal songs, and I guess the two opening acts they had on the Unmasked and Dynasty tour influenced Kiss a bit. I mean, Judas Priest, 1980, they released British Steel and things took off, and you had Maiden releasing, was it Number of the Beast, I think in early 82 or something, and it took off as well. So they needed to make a move, and they sure as hell couldn't do The Elder Part 2, so they went this way. And once again, one of Gene's best metal songs, but I don't know how much it had to do with the writing. Probably not a whole lot. But the drumming in this one is what makes it real heavy for me. I mean, Eric Carr just he performs real well on this one, and you have the slow main riff, very metal, and also of course Gene's vocals. He even uses the Cookie Monster vocals at times, and screams at the top of his lungs at other times. And the lyrics, perfect for a metal song, talking about revolution, telling everybody to watch out. And the solo, screaming high notes. I mean, just a great solo to this day. Live, it works real well. And this is maybe the only song during the live performances that everyone in the crowd goes like this with a fist, along with the drums. And ain't that the perfect sign of a metal song? I mean, and also the ending is good in this one as well. A lot of scary noises, ending the song. So perfect metal song. It was number 2 on my list. Close. I mean, the 3 first songs to me are way ahead of the others on this list. So this was one of them.
Yeah, this didn't get anywhere near my list because I already had 2 picks from Creatures, and I would have then said, well, Gene didn't write it. So, and then I would have said, well, I hate the animations live in concert. They've driven me nuts for years. I'm really
against the song.
Bored me to death. So, not on my list. More power to you, Lonnie, and you also ranked it very highly.
I did. I had it. I had it. Was it? It's second on my list. It's to what Daniel's. I guess that's Daniel and I skewed the curve on this. So Julian didn't even put it on his list, and Daniel and I had it ranked really high. But the song screams metal to me. With again, like everything we've talked about. You know, we just talked about Exciter, where it's fast, but it's metal. Well, this is more plodgy and slow, but it's very metal with the very guitar driven, and the Eric Carr's drumming is fantastic, and the dark Gene lyrics. You better watch out, because I'm a war machine. That's just. I mean, you could see Metallica. If Metallica came out with War Machine, you totally would believe it. It's that metal of a song. I think I can't believe it's not on your list, Julian. To be completely honest with you, I'm a little shocked.
Either.
So
Crazy.
I almost put it number one, because I thoroughly enjoy the song, and it's very dark, very heavy, and it's one of the highlights to me when they play it in concert. No, I don't like the little robots that they've had on the screen for years. It does kind of drive me crazy as well. But when they play it live, I love it. When they brought it back for Rock the Nation, I was like, hell yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Changing up the set list, throwing in War Machine. That's awesome. And it's been a staple really almost ever since. There's been very few tours since then where they haven't played War Machine. And rightfully so, because it's very metal. It's a very good song. And it's almost a perfect metal song. I mean, I had it number 2 on my list.
Then you think of how many shows I've seen since then. Yeah, I've seen it a few too many times. At least it's got a dragon now.
Yes. The dragon does add to it.
Yeah, they got rid of the minions.
They got rid of the little robot army guys.
Ken, it also made your list.
Yeah, number 6 on my list. I never get tired of that song. I mean, I've seen it live going back to '83. So, they used a lot of time. It's like the alternate replacement song at the time when it first came out. They got rid of God of Thunder and they used War Machine in its place as the Gene song. But now they use both, which is perfectly fine. They're both great songs. But yeah, it's a great riff. I think Gene says he came up with that riff on a little keyboard or something. I know he said that. I don't believe he wrote the whole song or anything, but I think it's possible that just that main little cool riff that we hear throughout the song was his idea, which sometimes that makes the whole song in a way. It's a great song and a great guitar solo by Vinny on that. I believe that one's Vinny, and it's just an awesome metal type of solo, and it's a great song. And War Machine, you think metal and war and metal, and then you combine it with the tank. It's definitely a metal song.
Nice. All right, the one song that I mentioned a minute ago, a unanimous pick by all 4 of our lists. In second place on 29 points, of course, Creatures of the Night, and for the same reasons that I love Exciter as a lead-off track, as a heavy eruption. This is more so. So it doesn't beat that on my list because I just love Exciter, but it's a fantastic song. The bass again on this is absolutely fantastic. The drums, the vocal, excellent Metal Kiss song. Daniel, let's go to you.
Well, maybe Ken can tell us about this one, but I can't imagine the feeling when you've listened to Dynasty, Unmasked, The Elder, and then this record kicks off with Creatures of the Night. I mean, what a shock. The lyrics are very dark. Victims, darkness, courage, fight, howling, shadows, bite. I mean, it's perfect for a metal song. And the thing with this one, when it comes to the vocals, I think this is probably the song where Paul sings the meanest. I mean, there's something about his intonation, his pronunciation of the words. He spits them out, searching in the darkness, running from the day. Sort of like future deep in doubt. I mean, he spits him out. And it may be Paul's meanest vocals ever. And he also adds, the screaming, the great vocalist that he is. He can also do the higher notes. And you have the chaka-chaka guitars. And the solo is perfect. No more bluesy Ace-isms. Didn't fit on this album. It's more metal. And everything about this song screams metal to me. And it's one of my absolute favorites of all time.
Well, Ken, you've ranked it the same as Daniel and myself. So tell us about, going from Dynasty to Unmasked to The Elder to this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I put that thing on and I heard, that the drums kick off and then it goes into like a guitar whine, it goes in and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, what is just happening? It just hit you in the face. And I was like, holy, what the heck? And I'm sitting there. I remember sitting there on my carpeted floor next to my stereo and have the lyrics out in front of me, the album cover, like you would do back in the day, and read the lyrics. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I think, and I called my friend, my buddy, who was also a KISS fan. I don't know if I called him right after that song or right after I heard the whole album or the side or whatever, but I said, KISS, I said, they're back. And I said, I can't believe, I couldn't believe how heavy it was. So yeah, that song, and I agree with Daniel. The Paul Stanley's is probably his most aggressive vocals on a song, from the darkness perspective, I guess, or angry perspective. But the lyrics and everything is just fine. I mean, perfect for this song, and the guitar solo and just fantastic guitar solo. So the whole song is great, and it just rips along, and it was a great starter to that album, to another great album. So definitely high metal song on my list.
Yeah, Lonnie, you ranked this the highest out of us.
Yeah, it's number 3 on my list. It's I love Creatures of the Night. The drums starting off into the guitars and Paul's vocals. It's a very, very metal song. One of my favorite KISS songs. I mean, and obviously one of my favorite metal KISS songs. And for all of us, the reasons why we rank certain songs is because of what certain albums mean to us, and times in our lives when we discover certain things too. And I mentioned God of Thunder earlier. My brother had Destroyer. We also had Creatures of the Night when we were very young. And Creatures of the Night starts off with this song. And we had the old cassette, the original cover, and we loved that song. We loved that album, and I think it's a perfect metal song with what Daniel mentioned with the dark lyric. Paul with dark lyrics. This is one of the few songs that Paul is really dark. Rain comes to mind too, as far as like dark Paul lyrics as well. But this song's like infinitely better than Rain. But that song just comes to mind as well, just thinking about dark Paul songs. But Creatures of the Night is just fast. It's dark at the same time. The drums are just so thunderous. And speaking of Creatures of the Night, and I'm just going to go off, just veer off just a hair here and ask Ken a question. When he first drops the needle on Creatures of the Night in 1982, and he hears it, and he's looking at the cover, and he sees Ace Frehley on the cover. Did you think it was Ace? Did you think it was Ace Frehley on that album, or did you have any reason to doubt that it wasn't Ace Frehley on that?
No, I mean, I took it for what it was. I thought it was Ace, and though I thought that he had practiced a little bit more than usual, improved his he's like, wow, he's really ripping, because it wasn't quite as Ace is always a melodic type song within a song, right? And this was a little bit more of like just ripping guitar, and it's like, wow, Ace really is like going wild on this one. So yeah, I did not know. I'm not a guitar expert on styles and stuff like that. So when I was listening, I thought it was Ace playing.
That's an honest answer, because a lot of people are like, "Oh no, I knew." In 1980s, you had no reason to doubt. I knew right away. Whatever. So that's an honest answer. I appreciate your comments. But no, Creature's third highest on my list because I love the song. Definitely deserve it.
Unless you're a reader of Kerrang, which had clearly said.
Oh, Jesus.
You'd probably think it was Bob Kulick. There you go. But Gene had also improved as a bassist, hadn't he? Because he didn't play a lot of the bass lines on the album. So, okay. All right, here we go. Number one. This panel's pick is no surprise at all. I told you Peter Criss was going to win this. Baby Driver. No, obviously. First place on 34 points. Unholy. No shock. There we go. Danny's just knocked out his audio as well, I bet, by doing that. All right, who do we start with? We can only it's got to be Lonnie. First word. Come on.
Unholy is the most metal Kiss song there is, and I'm very happy that it is number one because it deserves to be number one. I mean, it's so metal. It's so dark. Gene's lyrics are absolutely perfect. The guitar solo in it is great as well. It just screams metal, and it just screams darkness, and then the video for it is just as great as well. It's so dark, and Gene just looking at you, and Gene just looks menacing and evil, and he looks like the old Gene, that he's going to come and bite your head off, even without the makeup. If Gene finally looks like he's going to come and eat you. So and the lyrics make you think that too. And Daniel talks about how as a kid, like that God of Thunder like scared him a little bit. Unholy kind of scared me a little bit as a 12, 13-year-old kid buying Revenge. I'm like, man, like should I even be listening to this? I don't know. I better not turn it up real loud. My mom might not like this. But I mean, it's total metal. It's the perfect Kiss metal song. I wish we talked about that. Ken mentioned how they play War Machine and God of Thunder now. I wish they would play this in concert, and they basically only have on 2 tours, on the Revenge tour and on Rock the Nation tour, and that's really the maybe some one-offs here and there after Revenge when they did that miniature Live 3 tour 94 type stuff. But basically the Revenge tour and Rock the Nation is the only really live performances we have of the song, and I think that's a real shame because it is so metal and it is so good. So, and I could go on babbling about Unholy, but I'll let you guys get a word in.
Thank you. Daniel.
Me?
Daniel.
Oh, Daniel.
And your audio doesn't work with your background. Skype is fucked. Can't hear you. Turn your background off.
Oh my goodness.
That happened to me, actually.
He said, "What the fuck?" There.
Edit that out.
No, we lost your audio now.
So
Ken, it was your top
Ken, what do you
pick.
think?
So while Daniel's kind of figure out his audio problems, Unholy. It was number one on my list. I agree with Lonnie that it is. I think it is the most metal Kiss song out there. I remember, when first seeing the video. I think that's the first time I heard it was seeing the video, and then later, seeing it in concert at the club. It's just a great heavy song. Just the guitars in there, the sound of the guitars are just so, I guess you'd call it metal, but and Bruce Kulick's guitar licks are just so, on that record, really dirty, nasty kind of licks. And that song was just, it's closer. It's almost a sister song to what is it? Not for the Innocent, in a way, with the vocals of Gene. It's close to that in a way. Those could have been, if those two were on the same album, that would have been fantastic. But it's no doubt for me a great song, and probably one of the heaviest and evil, I guess you could say, songs that Kiss has ever done.
Daniel, let's try you again.
1, 2.
Yay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Don't touch anything.
No, don't touch it. Nope. Well, I didn't hear you, Ken, there, but
That's okay. I said a lot of horrible things about you, but that's okay. But no,
you wouldn't do that to
I'm
my
just kidding.
face, would you?
I wouldn't do it to your face. Though.
Okay, but I agree with what Lonnie said. The guitar noises in the beginning, the build-up of the intro with the guitar that actually Gene added, from what I've read. And I also have to mention the video. The first time I heard the song was with the video. And for once, Kiss managed to make a video that was perfect for the song. That illustration in the beginning of like a bastard child in the womb or something, rolling around, and the vocals are just mean. And the lyrics, I don't know if you mentioned them. Once again, perfect lyrics, probably written by Vinnie Vincent. I mean, another one of the songs that Gene needed some help with, and it became magic. The worm that burrows through your brain is one of my favorites. And you send your children to war to serve bastards and whores. I mean, it doesn't get more mean than that. The one thing I have against the lyrics is that they actually rode the bandwagon once again. No surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Megadeth had a song on that Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Go to hell.
Yeah, go to hell. And in that song, they actually do that old poem, "When I lay you down to sleep, pray this," or whatever it is. And I guess Gene picked up on that, and even Metallica did it.
Metallica did it as well.
And then
Just
Gene does it on this song. So that's a bit, it's
funny.
a bit too obvious trying to be Metallica, Megadeth, But that's the only thing I think is a downer on this song, and I don't focus on that a lot. And the song ends with that scream and a bang, perfectly illustrated in the video with, the atom bomb. So I can agree that this is one of Kiss's most metal songs. It's a good pick for number one, yes.
Well, according to you lot, it is, and I put it on my list strictly as a sop to populist opinion, because it could very easily not be on my list, but especially when you look at that video.
You're such a pop guy.
You've got the burning pentagram, you've got the Gene rolling up with his eyes and his head shaking. I mean, back in '92 when I saw that, I just laughed my balls off. Like, oh my God.
Where we differ.
But you didn't laugh at Who Wants to Be Lonely? Tears Are Falling?
No! I was 14 then. I had an excuse.
So cool, jumping, doing splits.
We didn't laugh that Tears Are Falling.
Yeah, but come on, 8 years later, I was like all grown up apparently, and I just kind of laughed at it. It was just so pretentious and But yes, it is their most metal song, which is why I did put it on my list, because I knew none of you would allow me to get away with "I Can't Stop the Rain" being on there, or But it is most certainly. I would have
been severely disappointed in you if you would have not had this on your list and not had War Machine on your list.
Yeah, well, I didn't look at the math or the rankings before I did my list, so it's number one for a reason, and it is on my listing as a reason. And when I put my playlist together and was listening to it all day long, it works. It's right next to Hate, so
there you go.
It's kind of a shit sandwich. The bread's on the outside, and Unholy and Hate are in the middle. So.
Oh, man.
And there we are. This is panel's ranking of our top 10 most metal Kiss songs. In 10th place, I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, followed by Hate, Killer, God of Thunder, Not for the Innocent, Parasite, Exciter, War Machine, Creatures of the Night, and Unholy.
That's a hell of a list.
It's a good list.
Agreed.
All 19 picks by everyone were great. I mean,
Yep.
even the Larger Than Lifes and the Tough Love. Tough Love, that's heavy. That's metal. Yes, there's good stuff. So, what are your thoughts on our list? I mean, I'm going to post all 4 of these on the KissFAQ thread, and you can look at those without being a member. So don't worry, no one will know. Who got it right? Who do you think had the best pick for their top 10? And what are your top 10 most metal Kiss songs? We'd love to know. So wherever you tune in or listen to this, on YouTube or on the FAQ or on Facebook, let us know what your picks were. Let us know which one of our picks were most egregiously incorrect and how we need to go back to school. And hopefully you'll join us again. So for now, from Lonnie, from Ken, from Daniel and myself, thanks for joining us. Stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.